I could never be her. If he ever tried to lift his voice at me or hold me at the neck, I would pack my bags and leave him. But I was her. I was that woman for 5 years in an emotionally abusive relationship. Outside, I was confident, secure, and I had it all. But inside, I was broken. I carried the world on my shoulders. So I met him, and I ran into his arms. He gave me approval, he gave me attention, he gave me affection. Na nilifika. Early on in the relationship, he would have sudden mood swings. Suddenly, he's not calling, he's not texting. But I was very clear. It was something to do with him. It wasn't me. So we would talk about it, and after that we would, conclude. It was his problem. But then this went into conflicts. And Maureen and conflicts are not partners. If conflict comes in, Maureen leaves the room. So when conflict would come, I learned very early to say sorry quickly. Sorry. Be sorry, Maureen, and be done with this. So every conflict, I was the issue. And I just said sorry, and we were done. It just cleared everything. But later on, I became the sorry girl. It was in the lift. It was on the streets. Anywhere that I assumed that I, hit you or did something to hurt you, I said sorry. And there was one time in town, I was just going to buy credit. And the attendant was handing over the credit to me. And as I was going to take it, it fell. So I bent over. And this guy who doesn't even know me says, "Nawe unapenda kusema sorry sana." I'm thinking, seriously, where did that come from? There was a green top I used to love. It was a V-neck. And it showed whatever cleavage that I have, So I used to love wearing it. But to him, it was attention-seeking, and it was inappropriate. So I was told not to wear it again. And then, girls, we love to talk. And I got, to meet my friends and tell them something else that was happening in the relationship. And I went back to report it, to tell him. And it turned against my friends. I just couldn't understand it. How are my friends in this topic? We were talking about something else, and then now it's against my friends. So it turns out that I was the one who should take care who's in my circle. So I wrote in my diary, "Dear diary, will he ever try to control me?" Later, it was my mom, it was my dad, it was my siblings that were against him. It was his family that was against us. Suddenly, the whole world had a conspiracy against this relationship. So I became isolated, I became quiet, and I became reserved, just to keep away from the conflicts. Then it went one level higher. This was like a reality series, the one you watch and you wonder, is this real? So this was what was happening. Money became an issue. I was working at this time, and he wasn't. So probably it was business deals or whatever errands needed to be run. And it got to a point where the conflict about money was just too much. And I had a radio conversation. Someone had asked, they're in a relationship, and there's so much debt, and it's causing trouble in the relationship. And when the person who was answering the question said, if you still want to continue, forgive the debt. And whatever else you ever give, let it be something you can bear to lose. And I took that as mine, because I wasn't thinking about, living because of money. So I forgave, and I only gave what I could bear to lose. You see, we had met when I was 19. I was young. I was craving for freedom. All 19-year-olds just want to have fun. And for me, this relationship meant so much because it gave me the needs that I was looking for, and mostly in men. I had friends with ladies. We would chat, we would laugh. But this man gave me something that I was missing, especially from my father. So in the 5th year of our relationship, he proposed. And you would think, like all other girls, I was always waiting for the moment. I had read all those romantic novels, had watched the movies, and always when the proposal came, that was something all girls were, I was waiting to watch it. So he had it all planned out. We were all alone, and if it wasn't that way, I would be so embarrassed. So I thank God for that. He had a ring, and there was cake. And he went down on one knee, just like you watch them in movies. And he asked me, will you marry me? Right at that moment when he asked that question, I laughed. I laughed one big one. Let's leave him there. And go in my head. I was thinking so many thoughts. Did he plan all this just for me? Is he serious? Or is this a joke? Does he ever think we'll get married after all we have been through? See, I was this girl who had told myself that I'd wait until marriage to have sex. But I'd already crossed that line. So now, I was thinking, is it bad? Now, God already knows we've done this. So if we get married, it will be okay. It's like we are just continuing what we started. And then the financial part. It had got to a point where I thought, see, this is what they do in marriage. So they share finances. So we've already started. We are ahead. So at least that is a tick. Then his family knew me very well. My family knew him very well. So it wasn't going to be hard. So as I'm thinking these thoughts, he's still waiting. I don't know how long those thoughts went. But ladies and gentlemen, I said yes. Let's do this. And my friends were so happy for me. For me, I just wanted to hide that ring. I wanted it to be a secret. I wasn't so happy for myself, for us. I was just there, It was just one of those things that happened. So we went on. And that year I turned 25. And that year for me was a very pivotal time for me. I started journaling a lot. I've always been a writer, writing in my diaries, I'd been good in writing, but I'd always done it privately. So right now I just got a new diary, started writing, is this what I want to do all my life? I was a software developer at that point. I was wondering, is this my purpose? Is this what I will do all my life? So I started listening to a lot of things. And during that time, I even planned all the way to the wedding, what will happen. So I had drawn up a calendar of months, and I said, in this month, on this date, they will come for introduction. On this date, we will what? We will do the negotiations, the families will come together. On this date, we'll do the big day. This is the wedding day. But I was doing it just alone. And November of that year, my birthday is in October. So November of that year, I started really praying because I was feeling, I'm not sure if this is the man I want to be married to all my life. So as I was praying and just waiting, he had already moved out of the city. So I had so much time to myself. Before, we would hang out all the time, everywhere. If you would meet me because you know me, you'd ask, where is he? And if he was met on his own, he would be asked where I was. We were like twins, only with different mothers and fathers. Yeah. So this time, I have so much time on my hands. And on a usual morning, I receive a call. And this call would proverbially change my life forever. It was a lady on the other line. And she asked me 2 questions. She asked me, do you know where he lives? Do you know who he lives with? The first question, I knew where he lived, but I had never gone to visit him. But the second question took me aback. It must be a male cousin or a friend. Surely it can't be a lady, right? I mean, we're engaged. So it turned out it was a lady. He was living with someone I knew. And can you imagine, I was taking this call in the office, very relaxed, very standing straight, acting like everything is okay. After the call, I just couldn't hold it. I had to run to the toilet. And I still had the ring on. It was gold, just like I loved gold. But right now, that ring meant nothing. After all we've been through, I felt like that was just the most, break of trust. It was a break of my trust. It was, I really cried in that toilet. I remember crying, and I made some calls to a friend and to others, but I told these girls one thing. They called me, the one living with him and the other girl who was calling. I told them, I want to meet you. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Like how a phone doesn't pass on the information like you want it to. I wanted to hear it direct, face to face. Someone said when you talk to someone face to face, you connect with them. So I wanted that one. And we met in the evening, and we had a discussion. And they shared. The girl who called me because she had been through such a scenario where a guy whom they were almost getting married to was cheating, but no one ever told her. So she found out this friend was living with this guy, and this guy had said that I had left him. Imagine. Yeah, so that's why it could go on that way. I said one thing. I wouldn't fight this guy about this relationship. I've already found out, and I was praying, and this was my answer. What else do I want? So I think that meeting really just helped me to see my eyes were closed. Things had been going on in the background, and I just couldn't see it. I thought I was everything to this guy. And then it turned out I wasn't. It really just broke me apart. But because I had started the journey of personal development, I also decided to go on the journey of healing. And 2012 was that year for me. Just a journey of healing. So I asked myself, why did I stay? Why did I stay for 5 years with all these things that were going on? Let's go to the beginning. So I was young. I was 19, yeah? And this guy was a rebound. I had just come from my first love. You know how you have a guy that you really love, you've put everything into him, and then, pop, the relationship stops. My parents weren't approving. He was so much older. And being the firstborn that I am, how many firstborns do you have here? I was always told, you're the one who is showing your siblings the way. What you do, they will do. So I was obedient. My mom and dad said, leave him, and I left. But who knows? You never leave a relationship that way. You don't go with your heart. Your heart goes with you, yeah? I mean, you don't leave your heart, your heart goes with you, yeah? So I went with my heart, but it was broken, and that's how I entered this relationship. So for the first 2 years of the 5 years we were together, I didn't love him. My heart was still on the other guy. And then when I entered this one, see, we were the same age. We were both in college at that point. And I thought who would have a problem now? See, before it was age. Now we are the same age. But my parents, again, were not approving. And they even called an uncle to dinner one time. And the uncle was giving so many stories, you know, the kinds of stories you don't get. Like, it doesn't even concern me. But at the end, I knew it was targeted at me. Maureen, you need to leave that guy. We don't like that relationship. And somehow it was based, how I felt, it was based on tribe. So I felt tribe is not an issue for me. So this time, when my parents were doing this, I decided in my heart, they will not be the ones always deciding who I'm going to date. So now, I was bent on being rebellious. And somehow, they just accepted. All the 5 years we were together, ilibidi tu wamkubali na watuchukue vile tuko. They take us the way we are. Then, one thing that I never believed before, that girl, that Maureen, that was in that relationship for 5 years, I never believed that love can be heartless. Love must hurt. H-U-R-T. You know the perfect things you see on TV and all. I had come to believe that love can't be the TV kind. It has to be hurtful. I mean, you have to fight and all that. So there were so many fights, but always I just came back to the whole of, or to the box of, this happens in real relationships. But the conflict in that one was over the top. Over the top. So another thing that I really know kept me there is that I never thought I deserved better. This is the kind of guy that you'll always have, Maureen. So what else? Why look outside there? So because of that, and I also thought I was so dirty, no one else would take me. I actually believed there would be no other guy who'd want to date or love or marry this girl. So I decided this is the one. Stick with him, go all the way, mpaka mwisho, till the end, you know? And then I thought that I could change him. I thought that somehow marriage will make him better or will make this relationship better. So I continued to hang around there. I told myself, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things. Let's hope, let's bear, let's, continue on this journey until the end. So today as I stand here, I've decided one thing. I've decided to forgive that Maureen. I've decided that Maureen only knew what she knew at that point. All the information she had at that point helped her make those decisions she made then. And all the shame, the pain, the guilt that came in with being in that kind of relationship. Because there was a lot of shame just being inside there. And imagining Maureen in an abusive relationship, But I let it go. I decide right now, and I'll continue saying it until I believe it, that I love that Maureen. And right now I know that I am worthy of love, I am worthy of affection, I am worthy to be admired, to be who I am. I don't have to do anything to be deserving of more love. Yeah? I am now married to a wonderful man. So when she was singing that song, it made so much sense. And we have 2 children. And one of the things that I really am passionate about is relationships and healing. Because I know there's a generation yet to be born that deserves to be born where there's a cycle, the cycle of brokenness has ended. Thank you.